We live in a free world. Most of us can freely and loudly express our opinions. We can think and do whatever we want, but that was not always the case. And nor is it in the world of George Orwell's novel 1984. World where everything and everyone is monitored, people vanish without trace, and the whole system is built on lies and state propaganda. And I am going to theorize why me, or you probably wouldn't survive or resist the regime and world of 1984. But for that, we need to have a basic understanding of this world. World and history as we know it will be still the same until post-World War II era and early 50s, where according to book's lore, Third World War happened. Most major cities were nuked except London. After that, three sole superstates arise. Oceania, formed from all of America, Britain, Australia and South Africa. Eurasia, formed from all of Europe and whole previous Soviet state. And Eastasia, formed from rest of Asia and was led by former China. And then there were disputed territories of Northern Africa, Near East and South Asia, called Equatorial Front. After that, in all three superstates began revolutions. In Oceania it was INSOC, or English Socialist Party, in Eurasia it was called Neo-Bolshevism, and in East Asia a movement called Obliteration of Self, or Death Worship. But all three, while under different names, have remarkably similar policies and set of strict rules. While we don't know much else about Eurasia and East Asia, I am going to stick only to Oceania. But I doubt there is much bigger difference between the three. Oceania is ruled by a single party, INSOC, with its sole godlike leader, Big Brother. Population is divided into three parts. On the very top there are inner party members, with most privileges and power. Then educated people formed into outer party, and then the majority of population is starved and uneducated. Those are called proles. Party is able to sustain its power due to constant war with Eurasia and East Asia, one either being the ally and other the enemy, while constantly switching it. Food rationing system that affects everyone except inner party. Dumbing down English into new form of language called Newspeak, with authors constantly working on new, even more redacted versions to take ability of expressing oneself, thus further pushing censorship. Widespread monitoring of the whole party through camera and telescreens, those unless you are inner party, you can't turn them off. And we have three main ministries that control whole system. Ministry of Peace, which is concerned with war, Ministry of Love, which is concerned with responsibility of keeping everyone in the line and correctly educated, and Ministry of Truth, which is concerned with widespread censorship and lies. Whoever deviates will be found, re-educated, or eliminated. To others, he will just vanish, like he never existed. He won't be on any photographs, lists, nowhere, and whoever who would mention him would disappear just in the same way. Even though 1984 was just few decades later than history as we know it, it does not matter. All information can be changed at will by Ministry of Truth, with no one to deny or prove it otherwise. For example, if Oceania was just a year prior in war with Eurasia, and ally with East Asia, and suddenly change sides, Ministry of Truth could read the information in the way that Oceania was always with war with East Asia and ally with Eurasia. And whoever was not able to accept it, or tried even questioning the party, was taken by Ministry of Love for re-education. And this can be also described by: who controls the past controls the future, and who controls the present controls the past. Due to such practices, over the years, in the whole Oceania wasn't left anyone who would remember old regimes, or even that the airstrip 1 was once called Britain, though London stayed still London. By now, I do believe that you at least, to some degree, grasp how the world functions and what's not. So, let's go into the world itself. Because we know most about London, which is also the capital of Oceania, let's say we live there. From book we know that city is under constant surveillance via telescreens and helicopter raids, and is also frequently bombarded by other states. Not nuked, only like V1 or V2 type rockets from World War II. And poorer parts of the city are infested with rats and illnesses.
In the proletarian areas, they will attack a baby and within 5 minutes strip it to the bone. They also attack the sick and dying. They show astonishing intelligence in knowing when a human being is helpless.
Rats usually sizes bigger than most of babies, which can hunt cats, dogs, or even previously mentioned babies, if parents are not careful enough. Also, most things are state-owned, like cigarettes, alcohol, or even chocolate, while all taste and smell horribly. So if you want the good stuff, you have to go and find some black markets in your local area, which, surprisingly, states seem to tolerate or doesn't know about to some extent. So let's assume you work in outdoor party in Ministry of Roof. You have basic education and qualification for your job. You work as an author and editor for new 10th version of Newspeak. You love your work as much as Big Brother. You participate in various youth organizations such as Junior Anti-Sex League or spending time in community centers. You participate in everyday routine of 2-minute hate, where on telescreens are shown traitors and enemies of the state, and with pleasure you watch and attend all public executions, mostly of enemy state soldiers. Problem is that you know way too much. You were doing your job since 5th edition of Newspeak, you know perfectly how to behave and mimic yourself before constantly monitored telescreens, and this reality constantly pushes you to your limits. Each day, every day, with little to no privacy, horrible food and alcohol, piles of work, 2-minute hate, public executions, anti-sex rallies, and repeat. Let's say you had a wife, or in another case a man, but they vanished, and you did not question it. And now, by some miracle, after 4 years, you were able to befriend one of your co-workers. You hit it off, but not even a month later, she or he is taken by the Ministry of Love due to thought crime, because she or he spoke of another previously vanished colleague. You snap. Now you learn to hate Big Brother. You slowly try to distance yourself from public executions, you try to fake illness to not attend rallies and help in community centers, and you stop being vocal during 2-minute hate. Chocolate and alcohol tastes even worse than before, and sooner or later you are taken in by the Ministry of Love for thought crime. Tortured, re-educated, and executed in ministry. But before your execution, you learn how you got discovered. You were heard by your neighbor's kids while you were sleeping. You shouted in your dream death to Big Brother and other Big Brother and anti-insult slogans you've subconsciously made up. Even though there exists, or at least we are led to believe there exists some form of rebellion movement, which is shown, for example, during 2-minute hate, as far as we know, it could be just as another party fabrication to lure other potentially rebellious citizens and party members. You don't or haven't been able to contact their members, and even if, you would probably still end up the same way. This video was the far longest and hardest to make, but I'm glad I made it. And also, I only went briefly over whole system and the world of 1984. If you wish to learn more, then I highly recommend picking up the book itself or watching video by Alternate History Hub, who made a deeper dive into world of 1984, link in the description. So long, viewers, and remember, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, and Big Brother sees you.